Connected to the Santa Fe Depot in downtown San Diego is the second location of the Museum of Contemporary Art. The main one is located in La Jolla. It's a much smaller layout, but the art within tells us stories about ourselves and how we think. When we walk into an art museum, we expect to see paintings and pieces that are spread about sparsely covered rooms and walls. This museum is no different. In fact, it would only take a handful of minutes to walk through to see everything. Just like a playground from our childhood, however, we must give the art a chance to play in our minds in order to tell us a story so we may understand its deeper meaning. By looking closely at art, we discover things about ourselves and others through contemplation and introspection. Something in the art links together present thoughts with past feelings and memories, like a string of pearls woven through the colorful fabric of time. This piece is titled BF number 12 and must stand for butterfly. From our birth, we need help just to survive. We need parents to feed and nurture us. We need a doctor to bring us into the world. The shaping of our lives depends on so many others. We must always be grateful. Because as we age, they will slowly disappear. We must cherish the time we are alive to find a purpose in life and make the world a better place for everyone. Many, if not all of us, will go through school or college and find ourselves working at a job that eventually becomes repetitive or mundane. This painting depicts part of that everyday life, showing a sink with a ring of hair after the man in the mirror has shaved. He's partially obscured, but seems to be quietly weighing the rut he's in, as well as the meaning of his existence. As humans, we struggle to discover what path to choose, not only with a career that fits us best, but with our very definition of identity. The figure seen here looks at a mirror which reflects not one, but two different versions of the same person. Have you thought about your face in the mirror? It is always the opposite of what everyone else sees. Half of the museum is designated as an exhibit for contemporary artist Carmen Argote. She finds inspiration by walking around the city of Los Angeles and documenting what pops into her head. This one is called Dog Map and shows her encounters with a small dog behind a fence on one of her routine walking paths. Look at her drawings. Is Argote left-handed or right-handed? She uses two fingers of her hand to represent the dog's muzzle, while the directions show its movement and activity. Many creative writers, musicians, and artists experience writer's block or creative block. This piece entitled Spinning Dog shows how a dog may chase its tail if it becomes bored. In the same way, an artist's mind may spin in circles trying to generate new ideas. Producing and creating art takes inspiration and effort. It requires motivation to capture those thoughts through some form of media. There are many pieces of contemporary art that challenge us to look beyond what appears as a simple composition. As observers, we're asked to focus on the content and meaning behind the art, instead of whether or not it's attractive to our eyes. For example, There's a saying that a cat has 9 lives. This piece, called Dog with Black Glove, may portray a dog who somehow has 8 additional lives coming out of its back. The artist has left it up to us to discover its significance. At the entrance to the hall for Carmen Argote's works is Searching for the Willow Pattern. It's a series of banners with pockets which have bled colors to the surrounding fabric. One of the dyes is blue cobalt. Cobalt was used along with white ceramic porcelain during the Ming Dynasty in 14th century China to create blue and white pattern tableware. European countries only knew how to make ceramics from brown clay. When they set their eyes on the blue and white plates and dishes from China, it became a desired import up to the late 18th century, especially in Britain. The most popular design is known as the willow pattern. It always consists of a pagoda near the ocean, a fence, a bridge with 3 figures, another on a boat, an island across the sea, a weeping willow tree, and 2 birds. Here is the traditional story of the willow pattern. A mandarin and his daughter, Kongxi, lived in a magnificent pagoda by the edge of the ocean under an apple tree. One of the mandarin's lowly clerks, Cheng, and the daughter, Kongxi, knew they were meant to be with each other. The mandarin felt Cheng was unworthy and banished him. He built an enormous fence to keep Cheng out and imprison his daughter within. The mandarin arranged for Kongxi to marry a rich and powerful duke, who arrived by boat carrying jewels as a dowry. As the duke and mandarin celebrated the future wedding, Cheng disguised himself as a servant, entered the palace, and eloped with Kongxi along with the jewels. The mandarin pursued them across the bridge past the weeping willow tree, but they successfully escaped. Kongxi and Cheng fled to an island across the sea, where they lived for some time, but not forever happily. Cheng became a famous writer, and his fame spread far and wide. The mandarin sent his minions, who killed Cheng and burned the house, killing Kongxi inside. The gods took pity on Cheng and Kongxi and placed their souls in a pair of flying doves, forever together above the weeping willow tree. The weeping willow tree is seen as a symbol of immortality and rebirth, and a keeper of secrets for the souls that have departed this earth. The willow pattern fable is like much of contemporary art. We must search for meaning or moral of the story for ourselves. In the center of the gallery, Carmen Argote has an art piece that looks like a 14-foot gumdrop candy. Its title is Filtration System for a Process-Based Practice, and is modeled after the actual filtration system she found on one of her walks around Lincoln Park in Los Angeles. Argote thought of being on top of the filtration system as an island in the lake, within the island of Lincoln Park in the city. She planned out how she wanted to paint the 8-foot cloth circles on top of the mound in her studio. There's a time-lapse showing the removal of the cover after the 50 circles had been painted using the mound as an easel. The linens themselves are on display and tagged 1 through 50, documenting her process. Argote shows these as part of the process to filter paints in order to produce her artwork. The title of this piece is clear indication that Argote considers the human body a filtration system which produces art as well. It's called Urine Map in book form. There are two words which were lifted from tombstones by placing the paper on top and rubbing with a crayon. They spell out mother and other. Yes, the artist went #1 on this piece, but who knows where? When you consider this and the words written, two different roles in life are set in motion each time a baby is born. And from that birth, a work of art, filtered and produced through a human body. A recording of her verbal ideas plays in the background, with her voice echoing off the hard walls and reverberating throughout the gallery. In a way, hearing Carmen Argote's voice brings us closer to the exact moment her creative process begins.
The syrup drips down.
We can relate to her not just as an artist, but as a person who is actively connecting the pieces to solve an artistic puzzle. The idea for these cosmic backpacks was created at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Takeout food delivery became essential as restaurants closed and people were forced to quarantine. During her walks in Los Angeles, Argote found an abundance of leftover pizza boxes in trash cans around Boyle Heights. She imagined the grease stains on the containers to resemble a cosmic language. If we journeyed across the stars with these cosmic backpacks, let's hope the message reads, "We come in peace. With pizza." Bound with braided white t-shirts, these backpacks show how we carry one another through hardships and how we provide nourishment to those who need it. This piece is called "I'm Taking All I Can Carry." It looks like the final footsteps of someone who has struggled to survive through a hot, unrelenting desert. It implies how we must persevere no matter what obstacles or setbacks we have on our own journey through the desert of life. The circle may represent the isolation we sometimes feel, and we must remember there is a whole world out there with people that can help us to cope. This last piece by Carmen Argote appears to be a shimmering display of fireworks, with a bright red one bursting in the center. It was made as a tribute to the medical professionals that remained on the front lines during the COVID-19 pandemic, and is dedicated with the title "For Florence." At the lake in Lincoln Park, there is a statue of Florence Nightingale. Argote used a lemon that was found near this statue and squeezed the juice onto her artwork. Florence Nightingale is most remembered for improving medical care and elevating the nursing profession in the 19th century. During the Crimean War in the 1850s, Nightingale and a team of 36 volunteer nurses were appointed to aid at a military hospital in Scutari. More soldiers were dying from the deplorable conditions rather than their battle wounds at a rate of 10 to 1. While there, she made sure hygiene was improved by providing clean linens free of bugs and lice, unblocking drains to clear sewage, eliminating rats that were living in the hospital, and providing clean drinking water. Her efforts greatly improved the survivability of the soldiers. The Scutari hospital's death rate dropped from 42% down to 2%. Florence Nightingale would make her rounds, checking on the soldiers at night, carrying a lamp. She was known to the grateful soldiers as the Lady with the Lamp, or the Angel of Crimea. The red burst does look like an angel ascending to the heavens. Ironically, though this piece is dedicated to Florence Nightingale for her improvements in medical hygiene, the falling stars are actually created from bird droppings. And yes, again, the artist went #1 on this artwork as well. Have you heard of the expression elephant in the room? It refers to a topic that everyone knows, but no one wants to bring up because of fear, discomfort, or controversy. Think of an elephant in your room that may need to finally be addressed. You may find that taking action will reduce your stress or anxiety and help you catch your dreams. One of the biggest elephants or mammoths in today's world is the threat of global nuclear war. These paintings by Byron Kim appear to represent shadows left from a nuclear blast. This one is entitled Trinity, 16 milliseconds after detonation. Trinity is the codename for the first nuclear weapon test on planet Earth. The height of its initial blast hemisphere seen here was 660 feet. It was detonated by the United States at 5:29 a.m. on July 16, 1945 in New Mexico as part of the Manhattan Project. The gadget, as it was called, was a Y-1561 device identical to the bomb detonated over Nagasaki, Japan a few weeks later. It was lifted to the top of this 100-foot tower and consisted of a plutonium core with many small explosives which compressed the plutonium, imploding in on itself and subsequently exploding out with a tremendously violent force. On August 6, 1945, the B-29 Superfortress Enola Gay dropped its 10,000-pound atomic bomb over the skies of Hiroshima, Japan. It detonated at an altitude of 2,000 feet, directly above a surgical clinic. In less than 1 second, the temperature on the ground reached 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. People half a mile away from the bombing site were vaporized into nothingness. Investigations showed that citizens 3 miles from the blast site would have been killed instantly, and those 10 miles from the bomb suffered serious injuries and fatalities. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, a second atomic bomb was detonated on Nagasaki, Japan. In all, an estimated 350,000 Japanese died from those atomic bombs and the ensuing fallout. It was a world at war, but it's sad to know the United States had to resort to using such deadly nuclear weapons. An adjacent art display by Chris Burden has 50,000 nickels with 50,000 matchsticks. During the latter half of the 20th century, the Cold War existed between the United States and the Soviet Union. These represent the greater than 2-to-1 ratio of tanks the Soviet Union had over the United States and Western Bloc allies. Because of this, the writing on the wall says it all. No matter what the cause, there is no justification for creating such deadly and destructive weapons. This piece is called La Santa Muerte Yo y el Diablo, or Holy Death, Me and the Devil. The artist Carla Diaz had suffered a stroke. You can see the figure is literally tugging at the heartstrings. Although the trauma affected her physically and emotionally, she has a greater appreciation for life. She created this from a dream she had while recovering. It is a reminder we must be thankful for each day granted to us. This final piece has a raccoon posing next to a tree. Both have shadows cast onto a wall or surface as if caught by a spotlight. The tree has almost a human head looking down at the raccoon. Is there a deeper meaning to this piece? The raccoon appears to hide a secret. Raccoons are thought of as thieves and scavengers. Could he have stolen something without us knowing? Maybe he stole reality from us and is testing our imagination. Look at this tree floating in mid-air. Contemporary art shows us a glimpse into what the artist sees, and also challenges our minds to find meaning and purpose. An art gallery allows us to exercise our curiosity and helps to expand our thoughts past those of a daily routine. By reflecting upon what we see and hear, it enables us to look inside and focus on things we haven't thought of in a while. If you enjoyed this video, you can help this channel grow. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching San Diego Review.